What's going on, everybody? Eyecee here, and welcome to another NBA video. This one is for November 23rd. It's 9-game slate, and apologies, I'm going to have to make this a really quick video because I won't have time to make a video otherwise. I'm only going to be talking about a few guys, but I'll be updating my spreadsheet throughout the day. So it's not complete yet, but in a couple of hours, I'll have full notes for all these guys. So I apologize in advance. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet, it's free. All I need is an email address. You can email me on Twitter at Eyecee DFS, post a tweet, DM me, or even just leave it in the YouTube comments. I need an email address I can share the spreadsheet with, and then you'll be able to access it. Without any further ado, let's just quickly go through these 9 games. First game, Orlando, Indiana. Jonathan Isaac with Vucevic out and Aaron Gordon out would probably be the guy that would see the most uptick here. But personally, I feel Evan Fournier would also be in line for a huge offensive uptick. He's the vet on this team, but Jonathan Isaac's the best player on this team. Jonathan Isaac's still going to have to defend the best player on the other team. Fournier's going to have the ball in his hands more, so he has more opportunity to produce. Fournier is the guy at 6,400 I don't mind getting to. Jonathan Isaac 7,500 is a little scary because he's still young and there's uncertainty and there's lack of consistency at times, and he's gonna be in whole different waters with no Vucevic and Aaron Gordon out there, so it is gonna be different. Indiana is a tough team, but I feel like Jonathan Isaac can get it done. He's someone I'm considering. And then Vucevic out, Kem Birch should be the guy getting the starting nod. If for whatever reason Kem Birch has a bad time, then Mo Bamba could very easily exceed his minutes and surpass him and even get that starting nod going forward. But as it stands, Mo Bamba is still under development. They're still working on him, and they don't want to put that kind of pressure on him, so I don't think that happens. Kem Birch at 4,300 should be a solid priced option on the day. It is a tough matchup again, so I don't know how much Kem Birch I get to, but I'll be updating notes so you guys will know. On the Indiana side, Jeremy Lamb returns. His return should make it a little bit easier for some of the other guys on the team. But Miles Turner is the guy I'm looking at 6K. I think he's a decently priced option here, especially with no Vucevic on the Magic now. He's priced down because they expected him to be going up against Vucevic, but Vucevic is going to be out, and I don't think they changed the price here. So 6K is a really low price for Miles Turner going up against some backups. It's a very, very enticing price. I'll be having a lot of Miles Turner, even if it is a little bit risky. Jeremy Lamb is shooting dependent, but he also gets a good amount of assists and steals, so I like him more than TJ Warren. And Domantas Sabonis has been playing out of his mind. At 8,100, he's in a fantastic opportunity here with no Vucevic or Gordon to just go out there and smash. So I don't mind Sabonis at 8,100 either. Some of these other guys I'll put notes for that I like or don't like, but we got to keep it going. On the Bull side, Levine is in a great spot here against the Charlotte Hornets, who have been giving it up to the opposition throughout the year. This should be one of the more faster-paced games of the night. Both of these teams are hungry for some wins. Got some young guys on their team, but Zach LaVine at 6,600 is too cheap in this matchup. I don't know why the hell he's so low. He's had some bad games, yes, but he shouldn't be like this low price for this type of matchup. Zach LaVine is a 100% in play for me tonight. He's been having too many bad games, and Chicago really needs to bounce back and get it together now. His minutes have been good. It's just the production hasn't been good. The shots haven't been falling. Some of the peripherals are not there on a consistent basis, so it's not good. But the matchups, the last 3 in particular, were tough: Milwaukee, Detroit, Miami. So I mean, you just saw yesterday Bruce Brown shut down Trae Young, so I'm pretty sure Zach LaVine got the Bruce Brown treatment, which makes me wish I kind of was paying attention to the Bruce Brown a little bit more. But I had a lot of Trae Young yesterday. Shit. Well, whatever. Zach LaVine is in a good spot here at 6,600. It's a great matchup, great spot to bounce back. I'll have a lot of LaVine. And Shaq Harrison's the truth, man. He's not the greatest basketball player, but he's just a super athlete, and he's just going to be getting a lot of minutes, particularly because it is a back-to-back for them, so his minutes should be secured here. He's definitely someone that's in prime position to go out there and smash, so I don't mind playing some Shaq Harrison. Even at 5,300 on a 9-game slate, I'll have some interest in him. Some of these other guys, too, they're decent plays. I'll have notes for them. On the Charlotte side, look, Terry Rozier had a bad game, not that great. Devontae Graham had a better game. I thought that Rozier would be the guy that would be having a better game, but that wasn't the case. Regardless, I'm not all that excited about Graham and Rozier. They could definitely go out there and have a great game against Chicago. It was a great matchup for them. But I'm still looking at the 3 other guys here, Bridges, Washington, and Batum. Washington in particular, I'm going back to PJ. He just didn't happen yesterday, man. He was in a great spot. He had like 20 DraftKings points at halftime, and then he finished the game with 22. So I don't really understand what happens. He does have foul trouble. He had been getting to foul trouble before, so there is that. But like he is risky. Both he's risky. Batum's risky, but they have upside in my mind, so I don't mind playing a little bit of them. Miles Bridges at 5,300, man. He got 47 DraftKings points yesterday. He's in a smash spot here. His minutes are secured. His role is secured. He's 21 years old. He's young AF, and that's the type of guy these guys are trying to build around. So he's going to be getting minutes throughout the year. He's been playing well. There's very little risk with him. The only thing is that he's going to be chased today, so I'll be chasing him with everybody else. So Miles Bridges is someone I'm going to be considering. And then some of these other guys will have notes for as well, but those are the main guys I'm interested in. On the San Antonio New York Knicks game, in all honesty, I'm not all that interested in anybody from this game. Derek White's questionable. DeJounte Murray doesn't usually play on a back-to-back, but we haven't gotten any news yet. If DeJounte Murray sits, then it boosts Forbes, Mills, and White. If White ends up playing with no DeJounte Murray, I love him at 4,200 against the Knicks. However, that's pretty much it. Rudy Gay's been playing really good. He's safe, but there's very little upside with him. He rarely ever flashes his upside. You're going to get that 30 DraftKings point game. It'll get you like 5 point something X. It's not enough on a 9-game slate. I don't think so. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there's other, like, these guys could do good. It's a great matchup, DeRozan and Aldridge, but they haven't been consistent. They're priced up now, and there's a lot of other guys that I like, so I'm not going to spend too much time on those guys. On the Knicks, however, Mitchell Robinson at 5K, man, he got into foul trouble the last 2 games. His minutes are down. A lot of people don't usually look at foul trouble when they're, like, looking at a player's recent games. They kind of just like, oh, he only played this many minutes. Oh, he only got this many points. They never look at the personal fouls and be like, oh, that's why he played this many minutes and got this compared to that. All right, so Mitchell Robinson is in a smash spot here at 5K against the San Antonio Spurs. What are you doing in here, Daquan Jeffrey? Sorry, I didn't even like do my spreadsheet all that well. Like, look at this. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot is snuck in the New York Knicks now. Oh my God. But Mitchell Robinson at 5K, he has huge upside. Smash play here. He should go out there and smash the Spurs. It's risky in its own right. He could get into foul trouble, of course. There is Bobby Portis and Todd Gibson in the mix. But Bobby Portis is the other guy, like here, 4,200. He's priced down now. He's still playing in the low 20 minutes. Definitely someone that could go out there and have a good game, exceed value at this price. 30, 35, 40 DraftKings points is not outside of the realm of possibility. He's a very productive player at times, but he's very inconsistent. On to the next. Miami versus Philadelphia. Both these teams are on a back-to-back, so, you know, might have some guys, you know, taking a little bit of a break or a breather like Embiid, perhaps, and got to keep an eye on the news. Philadelphia is notorious for resting some of these guys. This is a good matchup, though. The Heat are one of the best teams in the league right now, one of the hottest. They've been playing really good. They've done a real good job recruiting guys from the G League. Nunn, Robinson, a lot of these guys have come up out of nowhere and have really made a difference for this Heat team in the early season. With that said, Bam Adebayo at 7,400, man. I love Bam. He's been playing really good all season long. This is a very tough matchup against Embiid, but I don't think we get to see the full allotment of Embiid in this matchup on a back-to-back. I think they're going to be cautious with him and, you know, really take their time with Embiid and not rush him through anything. Bam has had some tough matchups so far this year, but he's done decent in those matchups, which makes me feel like he could hold his own against Embiid here. At a 7,400 price point, it's a decent price for him. It is risky, of course, because Embiid could definitely hinder him and cause problems, but he's been good so far. Aside from that, Butler, I'll just talk about real quick. Butler definitely coming back to 76ers, the team he played for last year. Definitely would be motivated to go off against them, but it's not like resentment or revenge or anything like that. He's happy, you know, he's friends with those guys, and it was his decision to leave, so it's not going to be a revenge type of game for him, but it's still his former team. He's going to want to show off against them, show up, and it should be a good matchup and to watch. And if you have Butler, nothing wrong with that. Non-hero Dragic. I would probably go Dragic. Dragic played good minutes in the last back-to-back they had, so I don't see any reason why he'd be reduced today. 5,400 is a good price. He's been playing more consistent, and he's safer than Nunn and Hero, who both have more upside, but their minutes aren't always there. Nunn, of course, starts, so he has more potential than Hero, but Hero's upside is huge. Duncan Robinson, Like 5,500, I'm not really interested. Of course, he's going to be playing 30 minutes. If he takes 15 3-pointers, then yeah, we want Duncan Robinson. But I don't think we get to see 15 3-pointers from him today. He took 8 yesterday. We only got 2. So I'll just leave it at that. On the 76er side, Tobias Harris and Al Horford's prices are really, really good, especially if Josh Richardson's out. 64 and 6K is just too fantastic. And then Ben Simmons' price drop here, it kind of makes sense because the Heat have just been super good against guards so far this year. They just really suffocate the opposition point guard. But, Ben Simmons is not your typical point guard. He's very skilled and talented, big guy too. So he could cause problems for the Heat. And Embiid is the guy I'm kind of worried about because I don't know if he's going to be playing his full allotment of minutes. It was a back-to-back. He played 27 minutes last night, so I guess they probably already were planning for it, or they just took every opportunity they had to get him off the court, or he was in foul trouble. Could have been either thing. I didn't get to watch the highlights yet for all the games either, so that could have been that. But he's definitely someone that can go out there and smash the 9,200, no problemo. Next game, Toronto versus Atlanta. Starting with Toronto, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, both these guys are a short consideration for me. They're playing playoff minutes. The price hasn't really gone up on Fred VanVleet, who's in a fantastic matchup against the Hawks. Siakam also is in a great matchup against the Hawk here. He's been playing really well, and in the amount of minutes he's been playing, he could definitely smash and exceed value. The next guy I got here is Norman Powell, that I feel like is in a good spot here to do well at 5,200. He could definitely be a good match in a good spot here against the Hawks. And then there's some other role players here that are playing good minutes, but their price is kind of high. OG is the guy that kind of stands out to me at 5,300. He's a decently priced matchup here too, so no problemo. On the Hawks, we got Trae Young, who just got shut down by Bruce Brown. Trae Young's people are gonna avoid Trae Young like the plague. He's had like 4 bad games in a row now. Toronto is one of the more tougher defensive teams, which is exactly the reason why I like him. Trae Young at 9,800. He's just coming off one of the worst games of his young career. He only scored single-digit real points, 9 real points. It was terrible. I watched this whole game, and I didn't like what I saw, but at the same time, a lot of these guys weren't passing him the goddamn ball, man. Like, yeah, he had Bruce Brown on him, but give him the ball so he could do something with it. He's just running, standing in the corner, and DeAndre Hunter or Parker would just take the shot, or Bembry, and Trae Young would just stand in the corner. I don't know. I don't understand. Atlanta needs to do a better job of getting him the ball, especially when he's getting covered like that. They got to space for him and help him out. He should be in a good spot here. Not in a good spot here against Toronto. He should be in a good spot here based on his ownership. His ownership's going to be very low, and if he manages to have one of those good games, he's had good games against good teams so far this season, so it's not outside of the realm of possibility. He's just in a little bit of a slump right now, and he had that last year as well, so if he comes out of it today, you'll be very happy you picked him. DeAndre Hunter, 5,100, definitely in play with Whiter and Reddish are both out. But I'll just leave it at that. Not really interested in all those other guys. I'll put detailed notes, though, so you guys can follow that. On the Portland-Cleveland game, Lillard and Whiteside are questionable. If they return, that changes a lot of things, so really keep an eye on the news. I'm not going to spend too much time here, except that if Lillard plays, obviously CJ McCollum's overpriced. If Whiteside plays, obviously Labissiere is less intriguing, or not even at all at that price. Minutes are going to be gone. So let's leave it at that. Keep an eye on the news here. If these guys remain out, I don't mind going to some Melo. I don't mind going to some Simons. He got burned. Everybody burned. He burned everybody. Everybody got burned. And Fernie burned Simons. So I don't mind going to him at 4,400, especially if he's going to be starting. But Carmelo at 5K is decently priced with Lillard and Whiteside are out. Great matchup against the Cavaliers. Should be rearing to go. Tristan Thompson at 6,100. I don't understand. It's like they know Whiteside's not going to be playing, so they priced him so low. 6,100 Tristan Thompson. I don't know how I get away from him. I know he's played really bad recently, but I mean, he's also played really good a couple of games before that. And 28's not bad. 6,100. I mean, it's not crazy. The price is just too low, man. 6,100 on Kevin Love, especially if there's no Whiteside. Like, what? Sexton's the other guy. I mean, he also had a bad game yesterday by his standards, his regular standards. He was doing decent, and I mean, I guess he still kind of hit what he was doing. So he's in another guy here that's in a spot here that could go out there and smash at 5,100. Portland's been terrible. They've been giving it up to everybody. So I'll be looking at Sexton. C.D. Osman finally had a good game yesterday, so yay for him at 4K. He can maybe build up on that against this crappy Portland team, so keep an eye on him. But for all these other guys, I'll put some more notes, guys. I apologize. I'm really running out of time here. Got like 5 minutes. Lakers, Memphis. LeBron, AD, both in play. One of the top plays of the night based on their price compared to some of these other guys. Kuzma at 4,900. He failed to deliver at 4,300 with 27 minutes playing time, but he has a better matchup today. He has the upside, and especially since it's a back-to-back, he could get more minutes. I know these guys said they'd be playing, and they're not really focusing on resting and all that, but they will take any opportunity they can to rest when they can, and they're going to look to close this one up early, especially against the Grizzlies. Caruso is another guy that I'm slightly considering, especially if we get news that Rondo might not play or see limited run in the back-to-back. I don't see why that would happen, but I just have a hunch to keep an eye on the news. I only like Caruso if Rondo is going to be out or limited or anything. Caruso's been playing decent minutes, and it'd be a good spot for him to exceed value at $3,400 price point. On the Memphis side, I'm going with the walking foul, Triple J at 5,100. It's a matchup that's going to scare everybody away in the first place. Ownership is going to be relatively low, but he still has huge upside. He can go out there and have a good game against AD and LeBron. It's just the foul trouble, and he's been good with it. Brandon Clark's the other guy I'm looking at. He's been pretty consistent. Brandon Clark has been playing really, really good defense to start. His defense is really good, and then on top of that, he's been pretty efficient with the shots some games, so he has that upside. It is a tough matchup. They're going to need the size and strength. Valanciunas, I always say, can mess around and win you a GPP, and Dylan Brooks would be a fantastic pick here too if Grayson Allen's out. He is shooting dependent, but he's just getting a lot of minutes and usage, and 5K is a decent price for someone taking 20 shots a game. Next game, Detroit-Milwaukee, a rematch of last year's round 1 of the Eastern playoffs, where the Milwaukee Bucks pretty much swept the Detroit Pistons, who didn't have a Blake Griffin. Andre Drummond, starting with the Pistons, is 8,300. His price went down from yesterday. He dropped 50 DraftKings points yesterday, and his price went down. Yeah, it's against the Buck. It's a tougher matchup, but Andre Drummond has had some really good games against Brook Lopez in the past, 50, 47, 49, 49. So I can all but surely say that he's going to have a decent game against Brook. It is risky, of course. There's other guys on the slate you can go with, but Drummond is a pretty safe bet. The way he's been playing has been phenomenal. He's entering his prime now. He's bigger, stronger, leaner. So he's a good pick. And then Blake Griffin, 7,200 on a back-to-back. He's still working his way back to form. Hasn't had one of those great games yet. Hasn't even hit 40 DraftKings points, but it's coming. It's going to come. Tony Snell is questionable, so that makes a big impact on Bruce Brown and Galloway's playing time, as well as even Markieff Morris. And then on the Bucks, Giannis and Bledsoe, the two guys I'm going with confidently. All these other guys I'm not really going to spend time talking about. I'll have notes for them. Some of them I might play, but I'm running out of time. Second or last game. Okay, last game. New Orleans versus Utah. And this game, again, we have a couple of questionable guys here. Okafor and Hart are questionable. If Okafor is out, that would give a huge bump to Hayes and Melly. If Hart's out, that would continue to give a bump to Kenrich and Etuan Moore, and even the likes of Frank Jackson and a little bit of JJ Redick, whose role and minutes are secured, but it still helps when Josh Hart's out. With that said, KD light, Kevin Durant light, Brandon Ingram 8,400. He's been playing lights out. Shot attempts and usage is fantastic, and he's been very consistent. I love him. He's gonna be hindered a lot by Joe Ingles and Boyan and Royce. They're gonna throw everything they got at him, but he's in a good spot here. He's been playing really well, and I expect him to work through their schemes. Lonzo Ball on the other hand, 4,500. I don't know what they're thinking, man. This is nuts. 4,500 for Lonzo Ball. If he's going to be starting, for sure he's a lock. But the only problem and the risk there is that in the past, Lonzo Ball has sat out in the third quarter, fourth quarter for 12 to 14 minutes and just sat on the bench, cooled down. The coach didn't use him because Frank Jackson or Nickeil Alexander-Walker got hot. So there's that to consider. It is a risk, but there's huge upside at this price, man. Like, this is just a crazy price. Lonzo could definitely have a good game against Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell. So definitely someone to look at. And then on the Utah side, Donovan, my boy Donovan could have a good game here against Utah or against the Pelicans too. The Pelicans have been giving it up. They play at a really fast pace. Lots of possessions here, extra chances for the Jazz teams. They are on a back-to-back though, so Coach Snyder's going to try everything he can to get these guys to win quick so he can rest some of these guys, especially Gobert. But Gobert could also have a good game. Bojan could have a good game. Conley could have a good game. They're all really good guys. Great matchup, great opportunity here. But Donovan Mitchell is the guy I'm looking at mainly. And then the two value picks I really like here. It's a late night hammer game, and I don't think a lot of people will get to these guys. Are Royce O'Neal and Emmanuel Mudiay. Both these guys should see a little bit of a minutes bump solely based on the fact that it's a back-to-back. And then combining with the notion that this might get out of hand and the Pelicans might get crushed. Anything of that sort, or someone gets into foul trouble, Conley needs a breather, then Mudiay would step in. And if any one of the forwards aren't getting it done, or Ingles gets into foul trouble guarding Ingram, then Royce O'Neal would get even more minutes than he already does. He already averages 28.6 minutes on the season, so he's a starter. His minutes are secured, but he could even get more run and more usage because he's a young guy on this team. So that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry for the fast-paced video. I'm going to try to do a little bit extra for you guys today and post like a proper player pool on Twitter closer to lock. Basically all the guys I'm looking at. I'll try to sort them by price too, so it's easier. And I'm going to fill up all these notes for you guys so you guys have all the notes. Again, if you guys want access to the spreadsheet, I need an email address that I can send a link to. So DM me on Twitter, comment on YouTube, and yeah, if you haven't, please subscribe and help me grow, because I'm trying to grow and do this full time. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Best of luck tonight. Take care. Bye bye.